And we talked a little bit about redistricting, safe seats. Prop 11 passed in November 2008, and I think your organization, helped draft that, and there's going to be an independent, I guess, body now going to draw the lines. And as Democrats, Republicans, or as Democrats, we've really been very careful to try to keep communities of interest together, so that the legislature looks like the diversity that California represents. And do you have any thoughts about, what the lines are going to look like, or how they're going to change, or how they're going to be drawn? Has anyone been following all the meetings around the state?
Well, so we're still really involved with the process. I think one of the concerns that folks had when the Prop 11 campaign was going on was that, what are we going to end up with at the end of this? And as you guys are talking about, the process is extremely important. So how you pick your delegates and how they're representing the state and how they draw the boundaries is extremely important. Organizationally, we're very, very, very involved in making sure that there's a lot of people at that table. I unfortunately am not in those meetings, so I can't tell you the details of how it's all playing out.
Yeah, just briefly. I think that this notion that redistricting reform is necessary is frankly wrong. I don't know how you draw a district where San Francisco is going to be competitive. People self-selected live in San Francisco for a reason, right? They like to live in a progressive community. Just as, my conservative right-wing family living in southern Orange County loves living there because it's a deeply conservative community. There are parts of the state that are somewhat balanced, and, you see those reflected in certain elections. I live in a swing Senate district on the Central Coast. But I don't see how you would draw a district that would make San Francisco or southern Orange County balanced or purple without even more massive gerrymandering than what you see going on today. I think that we need to keep in mind that Californians have the political persuasions they do, right? We live in a purplish state on certain issues, a blue state on others. We've elected a majority to the California state legislature almost every single year since at least 1970. That's a fact. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The problems that we face in California don't really stem, in my mind, from how the districts are drawn. They stem from how the government operates and how the government has been designed to fail, in my mind.
Well, one of the concerns is maybe the Senate. We only have one senator now that represents all of San Francisco, because we've got about 800,000 people, and right now we have 2 senators in San Francisco and 2 assembly members. So
I would love to see the state Senate abolished at a constitutional convention and the state assembly quadrupled.
Robert's absolutely correct. In California, we have self-selected into districts, and redistricting, I think, and one person a lot smarter than me on these issues said, I think, would probably only impact 4 districts. When all is said and done, 4 districts that are currently safe would become competitive. It's important that we get our districts right, but it's not a panacea. It's not a solution to our problems. It's a small piece of the puzzle. Districts should be democratic and representative, but I don't think we're that far off that goal with the current districts as they are, because, as I say, we live where we live.
So under the current system, a Republican is not going to be represented in San Francisco, and a Democrat isn't going to be represented in some of the more conservative parts of the state. So the answer to that particular issue is not redistricting. Redistricting potentially can make things more fair. By taking it out of the hands of partisan bodies, it can be made nonpartisan. But the solution, once again, is proportional representation. Under proportional representation, you can elect groups of legislators. You can elect them regionally or statewide, however it works. And in that case, if you elect a Republican slate, then Republicans from San Francisco will have representation. If you elect a Democratic slate from Southern California, the Democrats will have representation, albeit in smaller numbers. Along the lines of the comment of abolishing the Senate and quadrupling the size of the Assembly, colleagues of mine have come up with a proposal that is essentially that. And you can find that at reformcalifornia.org, which is the website for the political reform program. And my colleagues Mark Paul and Micah Weinberg have come up with a proportional representation proposal of 360 members, a unicameral legislature, half elected by districts, half elected by proportional representation.
I mean, if you look at our current state government structure, it was put in place in 1879. The state's population was less than 2 million people, 99% of them white. And we still have those structures, and we still have those districts, and we still have those, the Senate and the Assembly seats the same as they were back then. So whatever we do, we need to do something. It needs to be changed.
Just real quick on redistricting, I think I pretty much agree with what you were saying. At least redistricting is never meant to solve the problem. I mean, it's one of a number of reforms that need to be seriously looked at and hopefully implemented to improve a lot of things, from voter registration to civic literacy on the issues. And redistricting, as it was passed, was intended to take the drawing of district lines out of the hands of the legislature and put it into an independent, nonpartisan body. So I think that's what it's intending to do. I think that will be helpful. It's not sort of meant to be the solution, but it's something that's important that I'm glad we have and that we've passed it. And then the other thing I was going to say is, it's interesting with our term limits law. We've got one of the most severe term limits laws in the country, and what it's partially done is it's rendered, the two houses, it's sort of neutered the fact that the Senate, which is supposed to be the deliberative body that, senators are supposed to be in office for quite some time and can sort of review policies and see their impacts, down the road. It's changed that relationship between the Senate and the Assembly because no one's in office long enough to play that role. So I feel like when we think about what the legislature can look like, there's probably a lot of things now that we should start to look at.